Okay, welcome back everyone. I apologize for my absence last week. During all of my travels, I was unable to find time to actually do any streaming. Did get some coding done, but the internet was not as I would have liked. So we are back today. It's been apparently way too long since I've done much of the material design stuff. So tonight is going to be a lot of catching up on pull requests and issues and kind of hammering away on the 3.10 release. I'd like to get it into a reasonably good state so that we can get that merged in and done. So we will see how far we get. So let's see here. Click, click, click. And I go to that button and away we go. I'm trying out a new dark theme for GitHub. So I think it's good enough. I think it'll work. So first pull request is an easy one. This one is one that is automatically generated from our Azure pipelines. So every night the pipeline kicks off, goes and does its thing, and notifies me of new icons that it's generated. I usually just do a quick scan of it to see if it's deleting or obsoleting any of the icons, because that would be something worth noting in the release notes, because that's technically a breaking change. But in this case it's not, so it's an easy one. So mark it, merge it, and one done. See how easy that was? One pull request done. And I suppose, yeah, we can whack the branch. Doesn't matter. Pipeline recreates the branch every night if it needs to anyway. Okay, so let's figure out where we're at. So add custom mode to color zone. I think we looked at this before. Yes, so this was one here. Yeah, let's take a look at this one, because this, so the bug in question here comes around the usage of a group box. So right now the group box header has an attached property that gives access to the color mode, and I should say loose color mode, because it didn't allow you to pick arbitrary colors. It basically, the enum that was exposed just gave you access to single theme colors, and so this exposes it so you can pick whatever color you want. So let's take a look. 1611. So I suppose I could have just read the text down here. Let's check this guy out and take a look, because I had initially reviewed it and there was some changes that went in and got made, and yeah, so let's see how this goes. So first and foremost, we're just going to fire this guy up and see that it works, because I believe one of the requests was to add in an example into the demo app as part of the review. You can't run the demo because of a runtime error. This is interesting. I kind of want to check this out and see, because I think the demo app should be working, and if it's not, that'll be quickly up on the docket to get fixed tonight. Okay, so that appeared to work. This was another thing that got merged in that might adjust some of the sizing. That looks weird to me, right? I don't. So the addition of the search box isn't a bad thing. Let's see, group boxes, right? Boom. I kind of want to adjust it so that when you open this, focus automatically jumps into that text box, and then maybe I'd also like to center this guy up, right? Other than that, like, the functionality that was added worked great. Okay, so custom header. So let's take a look at what this guy is. So color zone assist mode custom, background black, foreground white. Cool. So one, this clearly appears to work because that is set up, and that basically is as I would expect. So let's take a little look here at what the implementation looks like, since that's the next most important thing, right? The thing is functional, so that launches and works. This is the one we saw. So what was this change in here? What was this? Oh, there's a change in the color zone. Ooh. That's interesting. We've got two different spellings of color in here. See, the filter thing caught it. Use custom back and foreground colors. So this is fine. Right, that flows through and works. Okay, so let's go back to here. So, okay, so step one, the color zone one has been reviewed, the group box one has been reviewed. Great, great, great. So we added a new one here. And this guy here fixed some of the text. Great. White space change, white space change. Actually, can we just hide white space changes, apply and reload? Right? Because most of the time I don't care about white space changes unless they're egregious. So, okay, so where are we at? So color zone assist. This is the background property into here. Get set. The key things to check are to make sure that the dependency property is properly assigned in here. This guy is set up as inherits. We'll double check. In general, so this isn't necessarily a bad thing. The only drawback is this could be performance implications if this thing has to propagate down, because ones that inherit, it obviously has to search the tree for versus just straight up. But sometimes they are required to get things down. Okay, you know, that looks fine to me. I don't see anything. The parent type is set appropriately. These types are set appropriately. Great. Let's see. So we've got a new trigger set on mode custom. And this is inside of the, I believe this must be the group box template. Or is this the color zone one? Color zone. Okay. So when it's set to custom, it goes and pulls from the color zone assist. Great. Wait. How does group box... Oh, because that... Wait. I'm confused. I expected to... Now I have to go look. I'm curious how the group box was able to pick that up. Oh, I bet you that's the key with the inherit. Right? If the property inherits down, the group box could just magically pick it up. Let's take a look here and see, because I'm betting that's how it's doing it, because the group box itself has a color zone here. And because the mode is propagated down. That's interesting. I am tempted to do something a little different though. Right, so this guy here, let's take a quick look. Let's see, generic contains the color zone. So let's go find this guy. Really want to. That's something I should have asked. Next time I talk to the XAML team, I want to be able to go Control MO just like I do in C# and collapse everything down to definitions. That would be a wonderful feature in my mind. Okay, but I digress. The important part here is how this guy is set up. So this guy is just looking for it on here directly. I think what we do is and this guy's using the color zone assist. Yeah, to pick it up. Okay. So I think we do the same thing in group box, right? Because I think what I'd like to do is turn off the inherit so that it's not needed. So this guy ends up looking something akin to, let's see, color zone assist. Go ahead and include. Gets, let's see, this is going to need to be a relative source binding because it is using an attached property. So it's basically the same as this, right? So the relative source of this color zone is going to go up to the templated parent, which in this case will be the group box, and we'll search the group box for the color zone assist background, right? And then we'll do the same thing for the foreground. And then I think what I'd like to do is jump over to these properties and not have it inherit. Right? Because now it shouldn't inherit, and it shouldn't need to, because we're effectively propagating those things down into the two cases. It does mean there might be other cases where if somebody was hoping to set this at like the window level and have it propagate down into all of them, that would break, but this isn't merged yet. And I'm a little less inclined to take that approach. If you want something to propagate all the way down like that, a better approach is an implicit style, targeting the color zone. Let's see. So let's just check them all. I'm gonna really need to clean that up. Okay, so this guy worked still. Great. That's sort of as expected. And then the group box is the one where it's most likely to break, but that guy got populated. I think I like that a little better, a little simpler, and we'll call it good. So let's just take these changes. Let's see. Adjusting to avoid needing properties to inherit. Great. Let's see. So let's just double check our work here real quick. So we added the two bindings. Color zone assist, and it works. So commit, push, and then that should, we'll update our master from our other stuff. And let's see, turn off that remote for the moment. We'll let the CI system run on that real quick, and then I think this guy should be good to run. All right, so I expect to see one build in progress. And let's go give it the review. Yep, that's changed since we last looked at it. That's changed since we last looked at it. Review changes, approve, submit. Okay. So I just want to, just so I don't accidentally shoot myself in the foot, we're going to wait for the CI system to finish. Text field character counter. This one's going to be bigger. Let's come back to that. That one's still sort of a work in progress, and I think I'm more interested in trying to get the 310 stuff merged in. So let's see, what was this? Use material design paper brush on the combo box's background when set. Yeah, I remember doing this. I'm not sure. I'm very tempted to merge this. I'm just trying to decide how much of a breaking change this is, right? So this is where semantic versioning in this library gets a little weird, because I've got the code API where it's fairly obvious when things are breaking changes, or at least it's objective. But when there's visual breaking changes, does that count, right? Because this visually could break somebody's code if they update and they're relying on the old behavior. I kind of doubt anyone is, but that could be, you know what I think we should do? We're gonna just change up these items here, right? Let's see. This one's not being used, so I'm just gonna get rid of this. Well, hang on. Let's check it here, right? Because I'm somewhat tempted to see. There's one closed item with this. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm just gonna whack. We're gonna get rid of this label because it doesn't get used enough. And I think what I'm gonna do is create two new labels. So breaking change, all right? And I think let's pick a color that's orange. Might be nice. I don't think we've got a good orange in there. So breaking change So we'll create that. Let's put a description on here. Items with items here have breaking API changes. Yeah, we'll just... Okay, then we're going to do another new label. I kind of want in the similar vein of that orange. Come on, give me an orange. Might just pick one myself. Because what I'm looking to do is visual breaking change. Let's see. Items here. Affected the visual look of your app and may require changes to look of control. Maybe something like that, right? That way, I think this is mostly just here for my reference as we move things in, because this again, this isn't a breaking change, but it's a visual breaking change, right? So there's and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this one in, and we're going to accept it for now. And I would really like it if anybody's able to play with the latest release. Let me know, because this is, again, a visual breaking change. And so if we need to pull this out and do something different, I'd like to know and understand your use case. So comment on 1576 or message me in the Gitter chat. Either one of those is a great way to get a hold of me. Okay, so there's that. Are you still going? Come on, build. Hurry up and finish. What is taking you so long? Were you just slow to get picked up? Oh, literally just finished. Okay, great. Let's see, comment and squash merge, another pull request down. And let's see here. What else? What other pull requests are sitting in the 310? I do tend to favor actually trying to work on the pull requests before before bug reports. So unless anyone objects and says that some bug is a big issue for them. So I don't think this is a so I think we may have accidentally just broken this, right? Yeah, we just broke this. So I can guarantee we just changed a bunch of files that this one's touching. So let's take a look. Well, actually, let's just go see about doing this, because this one's been open for a while. So, and it is something that I tagged for 310. So just because I tag something in a particular milestone doesn't necessarily guarantee that it will go out in that milestone, but it does guarantee that I'll look at it before releasing that milestone. So start with this pull. Let's see, I got too many branches. Too many branches. Delete, delete. Oh, I definitely want to fix this at some point. Did I have? I thought I opened a pull request. No. Interesting. There must be an issue, because I know there was something for that in the 310. Anyway, 942. 942. Let's see here. 942. We're just going to grab this guy. Yes. take a look at him, and then I think we'll probably just end up rebasing him right on. Sheesh. Okay, so one, why does it show pending changes? Oh. Delete. Don't care about you at the moment. Oh, you're probably locked in. Whatever. Okay, so this guy's sitting over here. Let's rebase you right onto master. Okay, and Visual Studio is losing its mind, so we're just going to shut it down. Yeah, ignore all. I understand. I'm changing branches and bouncing around. You don't like it when somebody takes all the stuff out from under you. I gotcha. Okay, back to what we were doing. So we've got an old branch. We know there's merge conflicts. We're going to rebase it onto master, and then go from there. Okay, so this guy here. So this adds, wonder why we added a tag. Regardless, I think we just take both changes here. It seems simple enough. Let's see, we'll take that first and that second. Keep everyone in there happy. Great, easy merge. Combo box pop-up. So this isn't really a differing change, right? Type default property, dependency property register background. This is just a white space formatting thing. So that's not a big deal. Okay, on property changed. So what's going on here? This guy is adding some loaded handlers, loaded and unloaded inside of the constructor. This thing is very, very confused on where this code goes, right? So in this one here, these items are inside of the... Wow, that is epic level confused. These things are clearly up inside of the constructor, but down here they are not. I am curious why. Child changed handler. So I think what we do is we take this, and I think what I'm going to do is, oh, will it not let me? It will let me edit down here, but I really want to copy this, right? I don't want to, because I'd really like to put that right here, right? Let's just grab it off of, let's just grab it right off of here. Get cracking. I would like to be able to copy and paste. Your diff windows do not support it, and it is a pain. I should not have to jump out of the window to do this. Where is combo box pop-up? TextFieldAssist. Actually, it looks like in the final result, those things aren't even added. Right? Because those things are not here. So those get dropped in a later commit. So I'm not even going to stress about them. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Continue our rebase. TextFieldAssist. So here we have an UnderlineBrush, and here we don't. Let me look and see here what. Let's see. TextFieldAssist. Collapse. There is the addition of an UnderlineBrush. Okay. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There we are. So in this case, I think we... How do I... Oh, I take this, right? And that ends up with this. Controls the visibility of text box field. Yeah. Great. So we'll take that change there.
Let's see here. This has a cleanup. CLR namespace, material design themes. This brings it down to just WPF. I believe this is desirable. Let's see here. This goes into there. TextFieldAssist, that makes sense. This is changing the declaration there. Comma box pop-up place. I wonder why it's unable to merge those. I would have expected that to be able to figure that out. Okay, so border brush, WPF, TextFieldAssist, underline brush, relative source, self. Don't know why it couldn't do that. Underline. So this is changing from W. Hey, Quality Coder. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Just so everybody is aware, currently working on the material design in XAML project. And just ultimately trying to catch up on being gone for a few weeks and trying to get pull requests merged in. Currently struggling with a rebase because I'm a little confused as to the intent here, but we're gonna keep going with this. Hopefully, there's only, I think, a few commits left in here, so we'll see how this goes. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. Material design, subheading, text blocks. This is the demo app, so I really don't care that much, right? Let's see here. Oh, actually, I do care. I do care because this was a breaking change in the latest release where some of these styles got changed. So I think we actually reject the static resource changes and keep the other ones in. Sometimes I really do hate merges. These things can be a huge pain in the butt. So this has a stack panel wrapping. I'm not entirely sure. I think I just take master on this, right? Because there's nothing in here. There's nothing in this particular section that should be changing. So we're going to take master because this isn't related to the pull request. Show me the XAML, fields 24, 13. And yeah, I think we're just going to take these because these are just going to cause conflicts. Again, I think I take master on these. And I think once again I take master. I'm going to be a little shocked if this comes out and cancel. What did I miss? I picked one. Oh, these ones I didn't handle. That one I missed. Okay. Check. Checkbox. Save. Continue rebase. Please be the last one. Okay. So, great. Only, 99 and 3. That's not bad, right? That's not bad. Okay, let's go and see how this works. Because ultimately, in this case, so back to what we started with, right? So the bug here is addressing the issue of combo boxes inside of the color zones, right? So you have a color zone, you open a combo box, and the background color looks horrible, right? And to some degree, we address this with the other pull request where we're using the theme brush for the pop-up. But this goes through, and I think, if I remember this correctly, let's see, this does not change the border away from the primary mid-brush. Yeah, because the other one, I believe, just, well, This may be obsoleted. We're gonna relaunch this and find out, because this may already be addressed. And for those people who haven't been in here before, I am perfectly happy to switch gears and take questions and work on stuff if people are interested. Otherwise, I just continue on my merry way and continue banging away on my project. So if people find it interesting, great. But if there is questions or whatnot, I do tend to do a ton of C# stuff, a lot of XAML, a lot of WPF, but again, always happy to take questions and change gears if there's something that actually interests somebody. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here and we're just gonna fire it up. I mean, what are the chances that we botch something in a merge? The answer is ridiculously high. Yeah, so that'll do it. So fields 27 is apparently duplicated over. Yeah, so now we got to figure out what the heck I did wrong. So simplest answer is fields 28 duplicated. If I did the merge, the chance would be about 110% that I botched something. I understand that feeling completely. Let's see. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and I hate doing it, but there are times where you just kind of have to bite the bullet and decide, you know what, I want to get this merged, so we're doing it. Let's see, fields 31. So at some point, I'm going to go back to my XAML displayer control and try and figure out. I'd love to auto-generate these keys rather than making them fixed at compile time. So for now, that's ultimately what these compile time errors are, is duplicate key in your XAML, go and change one of them. All these are used for is it builds up a dictionary that just contains the string of this XAML, so that it can then look it up at runtime and display the corresponding XAML. Because it's actually mildly difficult to display the corresponding XAML. Let's see, I think 32 is the magical number. Because if you want to take some XAML code and actually display it at runtime, what? Didn't I just establish that this was legit? 32. Oh, really? 33. All right. Compile. Hey, Joe Cool. Nice to have you around. So what were you guys working on, Quality Coder? I think this guy's lost his mind. Rebuild. When in doubt, clean and rebuild. Oh, cool. Chatbot for Twitch or Discord, or which one? Oh man, this is... Okay, so I think what I'm going to do real quick is I've got this branch locally. Stage, amend, great. Fix that. I kind of want to jump back to master and just confirm that this is legitimately still a bug, right? Because something in the back of my mind is telling me that the last pull request we merged took care of this combo box issue. We're going to see. We're going to see. Multi-platform chatbot. Each bot is a plugin to the framework, so it can run multiple bots at once, but tonight it was on the TwitchBot plugin. Cool. That actually sounds pretty sweet. I might go take a look at that. Let's see. Yeah. I'm going to go with it's lost its mind. The problem with my Show Me the XAML plugin is it runs inside of the MS Build pipeline. And because of that, it occasionally, because Visual Studio leaves the MS Build process running, it occasionally just has caching issues where it holds on to old versions of stuff when you're changing branches. It's very frustrating. I wish there was a way to do it. You can technically go through and kill all your MS Build processes and then kick off a build, but I find it's just quicker to close and relaunch Visual Studio. So that is cool about the chatbot. I'll go and take a look at it. Let's see. So what is XAML and how does it differ from XML? So the answer is XAML is XML. Its short version is it's a markup language for doing UIs. In this case, we are doing WPF. So, for example, where's main one? So you end up declaring your UI something that looks like this. So your top level element in XML is just a window. You've got buttons, you've got panels for layout, that sort of thing to go through and do it. Its big drawback is it's overly verbose. A lot of people who really like what is going on? A lot of people who really like web development will they squawk at the look of XAML because it really is big and verbose. I'm weird and I like it, but that's just me. The imported project build show me was not found. Confirm the expression in import. What the heck is going on? Okay, so let's take a look. Something is off. Let's see. So buried underneath our packages file, show me the XAML MS build. It's like it whacked a text file. I can spell. Show, S-H. Let's see, show me style, MS build. I don't blame you for shying away from the XML, especially with stuff like WSDLs. They kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth with overly verbose XML. It is kind of yucky. Like I won't disagree with that. Though I would liken it a little more to sort of what you do with like HTML for laying out a web page. It's not too unlike that. It's a lot more strict though in what you're allowed to do. It's very picky, but it also gets compiled, so you get compile time checking on it rather than runtime checks. Show me the XAML MS build. Well, I agree with you that it's missing, but where the heck did it go? It's just what? Okay, I am very, very confused by you, Packet. Very, very confused by you. So, when in doubt, PowerShell window and manually run it. So let's see here. Packet, Bootstrapper, and I think it's restore is the magical. What the heck? Okay. I don't recommend anyone do this ever. Git clean dfx. So reset my repo back to a clean state, wipe everything out that's not under source control. Little abusive, and by little I mean horribly abusive, but though I will say I do strongly prefer XHTML over HTML. Even though XHTML went away a while ago, I prefer the must close your tag syntax over the lazy. Nah, I don't have to do that. Browser understands. Yes, yes. Completely agree. You might actually not find XAML to be that different then. Again, just because it's compiled, its syntax rules are very strict. and it doesn't allow for a lot of freedom in that regard. So everything you declare will be closed, or you will get whacked upside the head. So So at this point, it should run. I expect the first one will likely fail because the packet will do the restore. I keep debating about dropping packet and just doing everything as straight NuGets, only because there's better tooling support. People are used to it. But we do have a couple dependencies that are being pulled in as just straight source files off of GitHub using packet. So in that regard, packet is kind of nice because it has more features. You can pin things at a particular version. Okay, so the whole point of this is in the color tool. No, not that one. The color zone, not the color tool. This guy here. We need to go through and add us some combo boxes. The next email, yes. Yeah, and in XAML you do get the nice self-closing tags. And so it can get fairly nice. I find it's intuitive to read. I know I'm probably in a minority, but like for example, like the toggle button here, right? You can go through. It's one line of code. It's a simple toggle button, and away you go. And then with this style and this library, you end up getting something that ultimately gives you the nice little hamburger menu with the little animation and the spin and all the pretty jazz that goes along with that. So let's see, which one are we going to pick on? I think I want to go down primary dark color zone. So let's go down here. Primary mid, primary dark. So let's just drop something in here, right? So we'll do a combo box, combo box item. And if you can't type, your life gets a lot harder. Server-side programmer, PHP and Python are my bread and butter. Interesting. I understand the Python, but why the PHP? Is that by choice, or is there some sort of legacy system type thing? I know some people really like the low-level PHP stuff, but it always felt like I wanted a higher-level language when I used it. Okay, so we got a combo box, and that's ultimately the bug there, right? Is inside of here, this guy ends up. Okay, so we do need it. Short version, bug still exists. Just like PHP, doing it for almost 15 years. Okay, I got you. I do know, I've met several people who that's been their first language and first love, and they definitely like to stick with it. I'm biased and like my C# a lot. But again, I very much I go to C# for just about everything until I have a reason not to. Okay, so there was an underline brush, right? So this underline brush property, what are you? Ambiguous reference. So is there two of them in here? Underline highlight brush. Ah, there are. So we need to whack one of these. First professional language was C# during my internship, then Cold Fusion at my first normal job, then on to PHP after that. I stuck with PHP. Interesting. So if that was about 15 years ago, I'm going to go with that was like C#. Is that like 1.0, 2.0? I was going to say, I think that because I started with C#, I want to say 11 years ago, and I think 3.0 had just dropped, if I'm remembering right. It's a while back. Okay, so that'll fix that. That'll fix that. That bug goes away. I have to pop open the next Mountain Dew. But it was the version before. Yeah, I think you mean link. So not X, but a Q. Yeah, the in-language query syntax, which I believe that, so link came, I believe, in 3 or 3.5. I don't remember exactly which, but yeah, it would have been just before that, so probably 2.0 then. And I still have one more duplicate key. Of course I do. 35. Be unduplicated, please. I'm wondering if I should change that error message to just print off all of the keys. There we go. It compiles. The first unit test has passed. Okay, so let's see here. Boy, now that I have this search box, I really do want to go through and change the way this works. Okay. Could have sworn this pull request had... Yeah. I'm missing something. Oh, here it is. Got it. So it's right here. That's fine. What's this toggle do? Oh, just a pretty toggle. Okay. So that does look a lot better. Okay, so let's take a look at what actually changed in this guy, because I think this is probably an easy merge. So there's the combo box in the UI. Great, that's fine. There's the, let's see, so this adds a combo box in the fields area with a color zone mode of inverted. So let's go to the fields. What's over here? Oh, this is the problem. We've got two things sitting on top of each other, so probably need to clean that up. And where the heck is this guy? Just looking for the OS hint. The company I work for is primarily a Microsoft shop, TFS, C#, Teams, Skype, but they also allow Java and Python. I refuse to rekindle my knowledge of Microsoft programming languages. Well, I can't say I completely blame you. I work for primarily a Microsoft shop as well. We're actually a Microsoft partner and do a lot of consulting type gigs and whatnot. But we have a few guys that are very much Python developers. They like their AWS, Python, Lambdas, and all that jazz. So they came from that world, and we had clients that were needing it, and so they were a wonderful fit. So we do a lot of C# stuff, but I can't say that that's all we do. We definitely bounce around a little. I am curious to check here real quick. Let's do the dark mode real fast, and I want to look at that one more time. It's bothering me that I don't see the cursor there too. So this still works there. Well, that's kind of cool that that works. I didn't realize that was actually going to work. Sweet. So let's check the color zone and make sure that that works there as well. Yeah, so that's reasonable. We still have that obnoxious issue. I want to rework the combo box because of this stupid line. Basically, layout rounding causes things to offset and round to a nearest pixel. The funniest parts of the whole thing is the language I use. PHP and Python are not really known as strong object-oriented languages, but I am OOP to the core, and I push my coworkers for solid style programming and everything else. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That is wonderful to hear. I teach at one of the local universities here, and today's lesson was, or I should say this week's lesson has been around the dependency inversion principle and what that means, how to implement it. The topic today was all about just doing good interface design and proper abstraction levels. I see a lot of examples where people just do really, really bad interface abstractions. Like I think the example I used in class today was like an interface of, I read file where it's very leaky and the implementation just starts showing right through. Okay, I think what I do is I just push my changes, right? The problem is those fields changes. I'd like to look at those and see what's different. What is the easiest way about this? So I think what we do is this. Stage all, amend, sure, great. And I think what I'm going to do is create branch. I'm just going to cheat real quick and push this branch up. I'll merge the other one, but I think I'm going to use this as a quick sanity check, just so that I can go through and see what's changed. Compare and pull requests, because that's really what I'm looking to understand is what did I botch down here. So the color zone one was fine, and these fields were the problem areas. Alright, so this line I want to fix. This line is probably the area. Yeah, so all of these changes are probably not worth keeping. Well, but at least I got a nice list now, right? So I'm just going to set this guy to the side where I can keep an eye on it, because I do want to go through and fix the display. Cool. See you in a few. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Actually, we might just do it here. This might be simpler. Okay, so 238, I want to go back to 27. Okay, so text fields. Let's see. 238, boom. I want you to be a 27. And we'll deal with your conflict in a minute. Come back to you, because you are probably an issue. 307 needs to be a 7. Let's see, 307 needs to be, what is a 7? Needs to be a 6. So I basically just want to revert all of these changes back and figure out where this box needs to end up. The unfortunate part is this view, 304. Let's see, 296 is the one I missed. The unfortunate part is this view has gotten a little unwieldy. 296, that's not right. 307, 315. I'm reading it in the wrong way. So there's basically too many things tied to very specific grids. I'd love to refactor this and just nest like some stack panels so that not everything needs explicit row definitions like this, because it gets to be a big pain on the merges. So 327 needs to be an 8. 327 needs to be an 8. Because, yeah, having everything in these individual grids just kind of gets to be a pain. 343. 343. And I think that was what that was. Great. Okay, so that fixes that. That fixes that. Okay, so now you, my friend, I need to figure out where you are. Let's just fire this up. One of the other nice things is, at least with WPF, you can edit the XAML while the app's running and just watch the change happen. I realize that's not a novel thing for web developers, but for those of us who've been building apps for a while, it was a godsend. Okay, so what do we got going here? So the floating password and our OS box are basically in the same bit. And I think what I want to do is push the floating password over and this guy down, maybe? Trying to decide what's easiest. So this is going to be, where are we? I want the 293. 293. So this guy here and the floating password box, just the guy on top of them, are, so this guy here, grid row 7, column 0. Why is row 6? Why is row 7 and row 6 conflicting with each other. This seems something is very, very off. Oh, I bet you I know what it is. I bet you there is a grid that doesn't have that many rows or columns. All right, because that would do it. So where collapse, collapse. And this is where XAML gets big and ugly and miserable. And a lot of it has to do with this view itself just being unwieldy and really needing to be broken down into small individual controls. Because in general, that's what you do to work around this problem, is you take each of these individual sections and break them into their own bits. Nope, this thing has way too many row definitions. Okay. I am making a bit of an assumption about which one this is. Let's jump back. So floating hint password. Hint foreground underscore green. So this is definitely the guy on top, right? Because we take him out. Still there. Interesting, interesting, interesting. A little confused as to what's going on. Okay, so let's think this one through real quick. So we've got a grid row 6, grid column 1, grid row 6, column 3. So these are the two guys sitting side by side. All right, so let's go ahead and put this guy back. So the question is, this guy is sitting on top, which means he's higher in the Z order, 6, column 1. So here, yeah, so this is functionally the problem. Is really what we want to do is we just want to insert this guy. Do I want to bite off fixing these things right now? I don't really want to. Don't really want to. So let's look. If we just push this guy down, because this guy is just, oh, this is the whole parent grid. Yuck, 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 yuck. I think the solution is just going to be this. All right, because this largely duplicates this guy over here. Am I wrong? Is there anything special being set? Color zone assist mode inverted. And it sets an underline brush. I don't know if we care, right? Let's take these guys here and go and place them on the other combo box and call it a day. I think that's the way we're going to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. So column 3, maybe this one. That's not it. Column 3, this one. Here. There we go. So let's see here. So this guy, color zone inverted, text underline brush, right? And then this guy goes away. Boom. For some reason, my edit and continue isn't picking that up. Mildly disappointing, but we're going to take a look and see how this goes. Because if this works, this seems like we can get this merged in and then have yet one more thing done. Oh, that is interesting. I wonder if that's intentional to have that light see-through. Fairly confident it's not. Only because the material design specification, they abhor transparency. Well, not completely abhor, but it's usually avoided, that and gradients.
Everything is done with shadows and height. I mean, I kind of like the look of it, but I think that that's probably problematic. Okay, so I think now that we can get at this guy, there's a bit of a bug to address here. So I think that's the solution, is we just move those attached properties over and everyone's happy. So let's start with this. If we go back to this branch, we can work on here. Great. Okay, so let's figure out where that guy is going from. Close, 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 and okay, so style for the combo box is down here. We can kind of look at the changes that'd be going in, because that's not it. That's not a problem. That's less of an issue. Welcome back. Just discovered that I've got a bug in my code. So we're going to see if we can figure out what I did to break this. Because this allows, what is this doing? Setter sets the attached property and then the background to the attached property. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. UnderlineBrush gets set. I'm more interested in this color mode and how this is being applied, right? Because the inverted is ultimately what's causing the problem. Let's see. So this guy comes through, background is open true, color mode standard. So I am curious where the pop-up is picking up, because the pop-up needs to pay attention to this this color zone mode. Just fine. I'm not seeing the code to pick that up, though it clearly picks up most of it. Material design, light background. So this is just setting the background property on the pop-up itself. That's probably it, I'm guessing. And I say that only because I suspect what's happening. Let's fire this up and double check. But I believe what's happening is some of the brushes, in an effort to dampen them, have an alpha channel set. And so I suspect that that is why we're seeing this guy show through, right? I think that's visible underneath. Okay, so let's fire up Snoop and just confirm that is in fact the case. Okay, so Snoop window here, main window here. Snoop, get out of my way for a minute. Pop you open, navigate. So I think if I just walk my way up to the pop-up, and I'm only interested in looking at its background property. Let's see here. Where is it? Logical content control. That's not it. There, material design body. No alpha channel on it. So why does this show, if that has a solid background, how is it that I'm seeing through it? How is it? Well, hold on. Yeah, this guy does have an alpha channel, DD. It's just slow to update. Okay. So there is an alpha channel being applied. That is a bit unfortunate. I'm not sure the proper way to handle this, because what should the background color be? I think the answer is that this is probably pointing out that we should be adjusting our template colors to not have that.
I think that's the sort of the crux of the problem here. So, because this guy here has several triggers, right? And he's going through and setting it. So in this case, it's using the inverted one. And so it's grabbing material design body. And I believe that's the one that's, let's go and check the colors. But I'm fairly confident that that's where that guy's coming from. So not that. Let's see. Is it buried? Not in my themes. Why am I confused? Those are the enums. It's the theme mixins, right? Theme assist. Yeah, change theme. Where's my set theme? Get theme resource dictionary, change theme, blah blah blah. No, where is the other one? Yeah, create theme. And I'm interested in the setters of this guy. Because the body property should show me where this guy gets set. Set solid color brush, theme body. Yeah, that's more like it. And get theme, set theme. There is a method in here that I wrote at one point that has all of the default colors for the light and the dark theme, which is ultimately what I'm hunting for. And yeah, base theme. One of you, go to implementation. Light theme. There we go. Yeah, so there's the problem. I'm willing to bet if I just toggle this over, right, and we can confirm this real quick, that will now take the color all the way to black, and we probably need to adjust these. I don't know. Does anyone have a reasonable way of going to the... I'm effectively looking for the RGB code for the lightish black given an alpha channel one. I basically want to convert an alpha RGB to a regular one. Going once, going twice. I can probably find one here. Oh, that did not fix it. That is surprising to me. Which brush are you using? That should have changed. Now I have to look again. Now I'm just really confused. Unless it picked up stale data, which I don't think it should have. So I believe it was this border here is where we picked up the background. Let's see here. Material design body, parent template. Yeah, it's still picking up material design body as... Is there a... Oh, I guess I should look at how the theme is being set. That could change it. Yep, it's being done with the old colors, not the new ones. Must remember to keep these things in sync. Let's see, themes. That's in, so sorry. The assembly of material design themes.wpf. And no, thank you. Too used to the old one. Themes and then the light theme in here. So material design body. These are the values that need to be kept in sync with the C# ones. Well, that worked, aside from the fact that I was stupid about which direction to go. Making it fully transparent instead of fully opaque is a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure the correct solution here. Fields. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is push this change. Yeah, so now it's actually opaque. But now it's, because of it, it's also now hiding the hover effect. Okay, so I think we put that back the way it was. We changed this guy here to go back to the way he was. And I think we're going to just push these changes, right? So what is sitting here? All of those changes. So change, amend previous commit, and force push up the branch. And I think what I'll do is I'll leave a comment on there. And I think it's just going to be a matter of trying to figure out what is the appropriate fix, right? Because I don't know how to handle this case where it's trying to figure out the correct background color. Hey, Xtol. So working on the material design in XAML project. So this guy here, I'll drop a link in the chat if you're interested. Basically, I've been absent from the project for a couple weeks, and so I was trying to get a bunch of pull requests into good states and merged and cleaned up. And I think I just came to the conclusion that one of these pull requests I can't reasonably merge. There's not an obvious or a simple solution to the question of how should it work. So I think I'm going to leave it sitting open for now and post a question and go from there. I think is going to be the way this works. So let's see. Rebased and updated code with the latest library changes. Let's see, in the demo app with the inverted combo box, you will notice the background is transparent because of the theme brush. Not currently sure how to handle this case. All right, so we can go through. I think the ultimate solution that I'm probably reopen pull request. Did not mean to close it. I think ultimately what I'm probably going to do is try to go through all those theme colors and eliminate the alpha channel, and just convert them to the appropriate gray level, because the only time where the alpha channel actually matters is like the hover effect in like the list boxes. But we've been bit enough times with the merging of transparent colors that I'm sort of tempted to go and just kill them all off. All right, let's see. So I don't think this guy is going to make it. The filter chips are interesting. Not sure I want to tackle that one at the moment, and that one's a bigger one. So let's take a look at some of these issues, right? So if anyone has something that they think is a pet issue or something that they're wanting to look at, let me know. This one here, I don't know if anyone's interested in jumping in on the library. Basically, there's... hey, why didn't I make these checkboxes? That was the intent, right? Preview. What am I screwing up here? These should be that. Oh, I got the hyphen on the wrong side. That's what I did wrong. Boom. Like these. Boom. And preview. There we go. Update comment. Basically, the icons in this library are keyed with an enum that gets auto-generated. So we've got a CI pipeline that goes and builds it up on a nightly basis. And it would be nice to adjust the script so that our enum actually has a none or zeroth value that displays no icon. So if somebody wanted to easily toggle it off, there was an option to do that. Discovered we weren't generating that, so I left it open as a good first issue and actually linked to the code where it needs to get changed. So it's actually inside of this icon thing class that's doing the updating. So specifically, you know, updating the enum, and then it's just a matter of testing to make sure that the control handles the empty enum value. So if somebody wants to tackle it, it seemed like a reasonably good first issue. Given that it's taken a few years before anyone's requested, I'm suspecting it's not a big feature, right? Just having an icon on your UI and then not displaying one seems like a little bit more of an edge case. This one here, I think, was one of the ones that I wanted to take a look at. So because he not only has logged the bug, but he's actually gone through and it looks like identified the exact line for the fix. So this is probably has to do with it. So let's see if we can tackle this one real quick. Let's see. So list view. Let's go back over here. So let's get ourselves back on master, and we'll go from there. Boom. Okay. So step one: reproduce the bug, which shouldn't be hard given that he provided us with all of the XAML needed, which is great. I highly approve when people do this. Okay, so let's find a list view and just swap one of these guys out. This guy. Great. You get demoted into my testbed for the moment. So item source. I don't know if it really matters, right? Actually, let's do this real quick. So this, I'm going to grab the list view items from the content, put those on my clipboard, and then we're just going to multi-clipboard this guy into place. So that button first. Take this off. That button next. Drop it in. Okay, so he has this. We'll have two columns, but we're going to bind them together. So setter visibility collapsed based on the column view header. So basically, wants a list view, wants to hide the header, and it should hide, and it appears that our style does not allow that, which is really unfortunate. Oh, Mountain Dew, how I love thee. Okay. List. Okay, so that's disappointing because that apparently looks like it's working. Right? So let's take this guy off. Oh, it's still allocating the space for it. That could be the problem. So let's do this. Let's see if I can setter property background value red. Be big, be obvious. Okay. Don't see it. Just relaunch and make sure this guy shows up. I'm not sure if this guy's overriding it or what the deal is. Grid view column header. Oh, yeah. The issue comment referenced padding, and so I'm not. Nope. Bad Visual Studio. No. Still no. Because this is generally how I would expect it to get done, but yeah, the background's clearly not respected either, and the fact that I get this cursor is a bit of an issue. Okay, so let's go back to Snoop, because I want to be able to see what's actually there. Because on the issue, he did comment that it looked like this attached property, the list view item padding, was getting applied to this rectangle. Would not shock me in the least. It probably just means that this guy needs to be conditional and not just always blindly applied. That would be my first instinct, but we'll see. So let's see if we can pick this guy up. So yeah, definitely a header there. Let's see. So that's the whole one. The dock panel, scroll viewer, scroll content. Okay, so let's. We're gonna leave this guy. Well, let's do this. Take a look at it because I believe that shrunk it down, right? But there's still some amount of size here, specifically that 17. And I am a little curious as to where that's coming from. Let's see. So which one of you guys has height? You do, and you're the full thing, right? Yep, so let's figure out what's inside of you. You've got a stack panel. This header. Header. So all of those have 0 height. Really? But you have height. Yeah, so that guy there, header. So if we zero out the padding, let's just confirm this theory. I would expect this guy to all go teeny mode, right? And let's see, show me height too. So the padding isn't fully responsible for it. Show me margin too. That doesn't have, because these are all just straight attached properties. Well, the implication was that that would do it, right? The list view. But ultimately that has to get applied somewhere for it to actually cause anything to change in size. Right? Attached properties generally don't add anything directly. At least they probably shouldn't. That dock panel has size. That dock panel has size. You guys are huge. What's going on? 32? Interesting. Okay. Well, we at least know somewhat where to look. Let's go hunting now. Okay, so the line in question that he had referenced was 45 inside of the list view. So we'll start there. Let's see here. So list view 45. Keep the width of the header the same size as the scroll viewer. So this guy here, a rectangle with a margin, and it's sitting alongside the scroll presenter inside of a stack panel. So where is this guy? So there's the stack panel, there's this guy. Look at that, he's right. So the presenter does shrink down, but this rectangle's margin is keeping him alive. Okay. So how do we go through and do this? Because ultimately we can't set this guy to be, I don't want to just set the margin. Because how do I know if all the columns are collapsed, right? Width of the header scroll view are the same size as the list items. Yeah, so this guy is basically just pushing it out. Right? Otherwise, the issue is this stack panel only gets as wide as it needs for the headers, and this guy effectively just adds space. I think what I do, because this guy's only designed to go out to the width, I don't need this margin to have any height, only width. So a simple solution could be just a straight value converter here, right? And trim off the height and only add the width. Yeah, I like it. I think that's probably the cleanest solution. So let's go through and do that. Let's see, converters. Let's see, margin is a thickness, so thickness, how about horizontal thickness converter. Ultimately, I'm going to make this guy internal, so I care a little less because I don't want to necessarily add to my API surface if I don't have to. So I value converter. Yes, resharper, I understand typing is hard. I keep going back and forth on whether I should get rid of and uninstall you. Okay, so we're going to be a one-way converter. We can stop debugging. Yes, I understand. Resharper caused my thing to hang. So let's see. If value is thickness, then return new thickness with, let's see, we'll copy the left, we'll zero the top, we'll copy the right, and zero the bottom. All right. Otherwise, return, let's see, binding do nothing, I think. And we should probably, yeah, so that works there. Grab this, come over to here, and let's add it, I think, inside of the control template resources. Boom. Okay, so we got our converter. Everyone's happy. Just slap that sucker on there, and I think then we get to be done. Converter, static resource, paste, and relaunch. Let's make sure it works. So back over to our list. There we go. And now it's hidden. And if I come back over here and I take this off, we now have our headers. Huzzah! It still bothers me. Background isn't implemented, but that is not a bug we are attacking today. Or at least not right now. So let's do this. Let's see, come here, come here. We don't need the demo app change, discard change, discard change. Boom. Let's see, fixes, and I need my bug number now. 1623. 1623. Limiting the height of the rectangle to 0 to avoid keeping headers visible. There, so stage and branch fix 1623. Looks good. Great, great. Commit, push, go. One thing I really wish is that I'd love it if GitHub implemented autocomplete like what exists in DevOps. That would be a nice feature, because there's a lot of times where I'm creating these pull requests, and as soon as the CI passes, I want it to go. So let's see, there's that. There's that. Great, great, great. Should auto-reference the bug. Yep, which it does. And as soon as that runs, that'll fix it. Okay, so let's jump back here and let's take a look at what else we got. What else we got? Faint mouse over effect on flat buttons. Let's take a look. Yeah, so this was an issue that came into play because of a recent change we made. So ultimately, it was a change that went in for this. So the material design docs, when we look at the flat buttons, where are they? They have a different hover color. Actually, this guy here should get labeled with our new visual breaking change. Alright, so there's that. This guy, so like these are the flat buttons, right? They only show effectively the text, and you'll note on the click effects they actually use the primary color. So in this case, purple, right? And so that was the intent with these things, is to actually meet that spec and make it match. The problem is the spec doesn't really say what to do in dark theme, which is problematic. And I think that's where we ultimately need to adjust this, right? So the changes here, what to do, because it set the feedback to primary hue mid-brush, and I'm wondering if that's not quite right. I'm wondering if this might just be simplest to do this as the light brush and be done with it. So I think we're going to try that. So let's see, this is going to be underneath button, line 138. Yes to all, please. Thanks. Great. Close, close. So let's go and look at button. Button. 138. Down. Primary hue, and let's just toggle this to light brush, right? Because, well, let's leave it broken. Let's leave it broken and reproduce the issue real quick first, just to make sure I'm clear on exactly what we're fixing. I might need to at some point spend a little time on my subtitles. They're delaying a little more than I'd like, but there's only so much I can do since I am forced to wait on cognitive services to do the processing in the cloud, which is less than ideal, but don't have much of an option. Okay, so we're going to go dark mode first, and then we're going to go buttons. And it's basically these guys here, right? And the problem being that the ripple is fairly difficult to see here. I mean, it is there, but I do agree that it is a lot lighter, especially depending on the theme that you're in. Let's see, let's just look at what that looks like in light to see what that contrast is. Yeah, it is definitely more noticeable in the light theme. So I think, though, the simplest fix that I can think is just this, right? So I'm going to relaunch. I just want to make darn sure that I pick up this change. The edit and continue mostly works, and I mostly trust it, aside from when it doesn't work, and then I stop trusting it. Because I'm thinking that if this works, that's probably the simplest thing. So let's start in light mode and just see how this guy goes. That's fairly good right there, right? Now let's flip over to dark mode and see if I can tell a difference. Well, that just doesn't feel... I think that's better, but man, that is really hard to tell. Let's look at... So... there was this change down here as well, and that could be why I'm missing it. Because this is effectively taking in that color and adjusting it. And I'm wondering if that's the simplest fix, right? Because that's the other thing, is the mouse over color is almost impossible to see. Let's see what that looks like in light theme. Let's see what that looks like, because at least to my poor eyes, I can't hardly see that mouse over color. So I'm wondering if that was the intent of doing this, right? Because that is really faint. Let's see, what, where were those states? What did it call for? Because ultimately the hover, that is hard to tell. Yeah, boy, that is really hard to tell. Okay, so that one doesn't count. These ones count, though. So ultimately, these changes were around these buttons. I think this one ultimately derives from it, flat icon, foreground button. But it looks like these guys, outside of the ripple effect, these guys have their own hover color. Okay, so let's set you back to mid, right? And then this guy down. Where are you? Show me the change. Show me the change. Boom, boom. Apparently I must have closed it. Let's see. Did I close my pull request too? Man, I am not doing well. Not doing well. Okay. But it completed, so squash merge. Confirm squash merge. This guy goes into there. That fixes that. Delete my branch. This bug goes in. It's fixed. Huzzah. Okay. Yeah, so it is. It's a light background. Yeah, and this is where it was before the change, right? So it showed up a lot better, specifically in the dark theme. This can lead to some clashes depending on the background color. Yeah, and I think this changing to be the mid brush is fine, but the ripple, if you want to change it, can be controlled by you, right? So depending on if there's always the risk that somebody goes through and puts bad color themes together, and we don't restrict what color themes you can use, so you are free to use poor color combinations if you want. But if you want to change this, there is a feedback property. So this ripple assist feedback, you can set that to any brush you want, and that'll control the ripple color. So if you want it to go back to the other one, that is possible. I don't need you anymore. So this guy here, I'm really curious on how to fix this, right? Yeah, flatten outline button in order to get it to match the docs, which is what we want. Yeah, so if you want to put it back, you could go and grab this guy, this flat button ripple. This brush probably needs to be deprecated out. It's used in two places exactly, for these flat buttons, and then it's also used on the toolbar buttons themselves. And after this change, it's only used on the toolbar buttons. I'm somewhat tempted to change this out, right? So 154 and 155. Let's look at that. So this guy here, kind of wondering. Let's just turn this opacity off for a moment. All right, and let's take a look at this. Yeah, so on the hover, that's clearly too much. So it needs something there. I think I understand why it's so light now. Let's see. Turn it way down. Because this is really only here for the hover effect. Surprised the outline button isn't expected to have a hover. That may be an additional bug. Let's see here. Where's the outline button? Flat, 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 text button, text button. So yeah, so the hover is definitely there. Let's take a quick look here, right? So if you just go here and no, I want my color dropper, right? So I want to look at this guy. All right, and then I come over here and I go paste. Okay, so let's take a quick look. So the question is, this is clearly the main color, right? And then color 2 is eyedropper this color. Edit colors. So I'm mostly paying attention to the saturation here of 66 and a hue of 177 because I suspect the hue is probably pretty close to this, right? Saturation is 205. So I think we end up needing to do some color conversions because ultimately it's going from 205 to 66. So it's roughly 25%. Or I should say 25% less saturation. Okay. My head is not in the mood to do a lot of math right now. Let's see, let's do this, right? Cancel, when in doubt, just copy and paste. So let's see, is this, let's see, are you going to play nice with me? Let's see, grab the darkest one here, maybe there, edit colors, so it's at 124. If we hold that it's a little more than a quarter of saturation, then the question is how close is this, right? 80. Way above. So I'm thinking the initial bits were probably closer to correct. I'm guessing he did a lot more math on this than I did. Okay, so then the question comes, if that is true, and this appears to be correct enough for the light theme, how should we handle it in dark theme? That is the question. So my first thought is I whack this and I do this. I don't think this will quite be enough. I think this is going to be way overkill. let's see here. The other thing we could do is, rather than just overriding this here and hijacking it here at the resources, we could go through and change out this resource. I don't like that as much, but that is an option. Yeah, because that's... This has a hover effect. Now I'm curious where that's coming from. Right, so there's the flat button effect. Where is the outline? Let's see, outline button. This is based on flat button. Oh, that's a dupe, so we can remove it. So it has the same thing here. It's basically just retemplated to look the same. Okay, so fix one, fix the other. That's raised button. Where'd my flat button style go? Where did you go? Flat button style. Okay. So how to handle this in dark mode? Because ultimately using the primary color is what's causing the problem. That is a problem. That is very much a problem. And that could be why... yuck. Because this is one of those situations where I really do just want it to work, right? But I don't... I'm trying to decide what is the appropriate color to go in here. So in the case that you're in dark mode, let's just go and toggle that guy, right? So that guy flips, and we come back to the buttons, right? Because that's clearly not right. But if we, so let's see, flat button. So let's go back to mid, all right, which is where it was sitting. And if we just play around with this, right? So, like, even that feels too light, right? I almost want to go through and have some sort of converter on it again. The problem is my converter is based upon the background color that the button's set on top of, right? Which is not a great effect. So this sits here. Yeah, because it really is just expected to be a nice light shade of it. I'm wondering if some of these theming ones have any good feedback on how to handle it. Typeface. See, this is fine, but this doesn't. It just gives me the typography for it. It doesn't tell me what people are doing for the mouse over effect to change it out. Because we could go through and change rather than, because it's really just a matter of making sure that we're using the same hue. Sorry, I'm just kind of talking out loud, right? So for people who are less familiar with it, hey, paint, there we go. So most people are familiar with RGB color codes, right? But there are other color spaces, and so HSL, which is what this is showing here, hue basically is a number representing the color. So you've got colors for red, blue, green, etc. But the important part is hue basically walks through your color spectrum, right? And so colors that are close in hue will be visually close in color. The saturation and luminosity refer to basically how much color is in there, so sort of how light or how dark it is, or how bright it is. And so it makes it a lot easier to determine distances between colors. It's how you're able to draw out, like in our color tool that we have. If we jump over to custom, you'll note this slider here, right? So you want to go through and build out this type of gradient. This is basically a hue slider of showing you everything from one side to the other, and you'll note on both ends red wraps around. It's effectively a circle. You'll see a lot of other various color pickers that do similar things. And then this guy, this top bit here is basically luminosity on the y-axis and saturation on the x-axis. So as you get more saturation and move further to the right, you get a lot more, in this case, blue into your color versus a lot more white. Or as you move up versus down, you get a lot more black, it gets darker versus lighter up at the top. So that's sort of in a nutshell how that works. And I'm wondering, for the purpose of doing this, if that actually helps us, right? Because right now what we're doing is we're taking the mid brush and we're just making it more transparent. And I don't know if that's actually correct. And I'm almost thinking that what I really should do is take the light brush and make it lighter. Not more transparent, but just lighter, right? Because when you add opacity to it, it's very much affected by the color that's under it. And I think there should be some opacity to it, but I think it's probably a lot more opaque and maybe just a lighter color from your primary. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Don't know if that really works well. But that would be an interesting thing to try, is to just lighten up the primary hue. Specifically the light brush maybe, and then apply some amount of opacity to it to see how that works. There is some built-in functionality that we added to the colors. So inside of the color manipulation, I believe, where is this color helper, right? So we've got lighten and darken, right? And so you don't necessarily have to think too hard about if you want to do some adjustments of lightening or darkening up colors. This will go through and handle some of that math for you of figuring out. So this is going into yet another color space called lab, rather than the HSL that we were using up, or I should say rather than the HSL, which is being shown here. So MS Paint shows HSL and RGB. But there are a lot more color spaces than what MS Paint cares to show. So we use all of these to basically, when you give it a primary hue, like in this case purple, we use, if you give us a mid color and don't specify light and dark, we just shift the mid color dark or lighter by 1. And then call those the dark and light theme colors, right? So if you just give us a primary and an accent color, we can generate out the rest. Or if somebody wants to get fancier with the theme colors, you can go through and set all of these yourself if you want. So with all of that said, I think I'm slowly talking myself into the idea of wanting to go through and do less with opacity on this and more with just lightening a color, because this is all about going here. And so if all we did was lighten the color significantly, that I think would go, it would then not be affected by whether we were in light or dark theme as much. and it would show up closer to the same in both. And I think that's probably what we want, because functionally the issue now is that the transparent color looks really good on white, but because the primary colors tend to be darker, they do not look as good on a dark background versus a light background, which is why I'm thinking I've talked myself into getting rid of the opacity. I think that's probably what should happen. Is this should probably be swapped out and done a little differently. So I'm going to talk out loud for a moment, because I don't think I have time to actually fix it now. But if somebody wants to take a stab at it, without trying it, what I'm thinking needs to happen is this is only here to hijack these dynamic resources, right? So these guys are just brushes that get resolved dynamically, and this is hijacking it. The only thing I don't like about this is this effectively makes it somewhat difficult for anyone else to go through and change it later. What I almost want to do is go through and on the button assist class, add a hover color or hover brush or similar, right? And I think I want to default it to the primary hue mid brush with some opacity and some value converter that lightens it up. Maybe calls lighten and passes a 2 or a 3 here for the amount to effectively shift it lighter several shades. I probably have to play with it to see what looks close, right? Because remember, the spec here that it shows for these buttons is not very dark at all, right? Like the hover effect is really, really light. This guy here, right? So this hover effect, you can just barely see that purple over the top. So we want it to be light, but we don't want it to be invisible, right? There should be an obvious indicator. When your cursor gets over the top of it, the idea is the user should know that it's something that they can click on. And so you want it to light up for them. But I'm thinking that's probably the best solution, is don't rely on the opacity. Create an attached property on button assist. And then rather than having this be dynamic resources here, all right, this then becomes a binding to that attached property. And then the default value for that attached property gets set up here. Some of these. That way it gives, if somebody wants to go through and change that attached property, they can. And so again, if people want to pick really bad colors and mix fuchsia and orange or something together, they can do it, but I don't recommend it. And then it should just work out of the box. I think that's the solution that I'm talking myself into. I think that makes the most sense. I may end up having to, again, I don't know if I'm going to get to it in the near future, but if I don't, that might be a good topic for next week. So I think I'm getting close to the end of my stream, so I've had an early morning, and I've got another early morning again tomorrow, so I'm probably going to cut it off here in just a minute. Thank you, everyone, for coming and dropping in. Thank you, Quality Coder, for the raid. Always nice to have more people in here and for the chat. So, yeah, if anybody is interested in helping out with this library, I do really appreciate it. There's been a lot of people that have contributed a lot recently to the material design project, and I cannot thank you enough. This project would not be where it is without help. And so even if it's as simple as reviewing other people's pull requests or commenting on issues and giving feedback, I really do appreciate all of that. It makes my life a lot easier, and it certainly helps move the project forward. So I think for now I am going to sign off. Apparently my subtitles have died. Yep, my subtitles have died. Awesome. So I'm going to sign off for the night. Probably be back again next week at the usual time for me. I keep toying around with maybe doing streams at different times or with other people. If there are topics or anything that people are interested in, please leave me a comment. Let me know. I have been looking for people who are interested in doing some pairing sessions, whether it's on material design in XAML, C#, or just something else that you're interested in. I'm always happy to learn new things. So if people are interested in doing pairing things, I'm happy to schedule it and get something going. So I know Mike Kern, we did some stuff, if you go back through the past videos, in regards to doing some testing. We were talking about potentially adding UI testing to material design in XAML, just to kind of plug that in and see what we could do with it, and just kind of have some fun. So that may be coming up as well too, if I can pin him down. Oh look, subtitles caught back up. Hooray. So with that, I'm going to sign off, say thank you very much, and happy coding.